Hello and welcome to Gardening with Soule in the land of El Sol. Today we're going to talk a little bit about feeding birds other than hummingbirds. And out there in the distance what we're looking at is there's a hummingbird feeder there, but there's also a woodpecker feeder. Now why on earth would I want to feed the woodpeckers? They bang away on the house, don't they? Well, here's the secret. Okay? They don't bang away on the house if you feed them, because they don't want to call attention to the food source. They're kind of sneaky that way. So they fly down and bother my neighbor. And he doesn't know that I'm feeding them, but hey, we won't go there, right? So a woodpecker feeder looks like this. And it's basically a peanut feeder, and you want to feed them peanuts. And I should say Gardening with Soule in the land of El Sol. You can also use a peanut feeder like this back east somewhere, but just don't use it if you have bears. Don't use it during the time when bears are active, because they will yank this down and eat the peanuts. So it's a nice hanger, and the woodpeckers come in, they just work away until they can get those little bits of nuts out there. You don't want to just feed them the nuts like this. You want them to really work for it, and develop their neck muscles, especially if they're youngsters, right? But if you just leave the seeds out there, you might attract rodents. And the problem with rodents in the Southwest is, of course, they're little sneaky snake friends, or not friends, enemies, right? The little slithery guys will come along to eat those rodents that you are attracting. So with a feeder like this, you avoid attracting rodents, you avoid attracting snakes. You do have the woodpeckers in an acceptable manner, not banging away on your house. So what kind of seeds? I have my little woodpecker food bucket here. We want to use roasted unsalted peanuts. Don't feed them the salted kind. It's not healthy for them. Just the roasted unsalted peanuts that you buy at the supermarket, not too expensive. Let's see, I believe this was a 1 pound bag. Yeah, it's a 1 pound bag. And a pound will fill about 3 feeders, which is what we have, and 3 of these on a neat little spiral that my husband made. And hey, if they get the bonus peanut that they don't have to work for, that's okay too, right? The idea is that you want the mesh tight enough that they'll aim their little heads through there. I've watched them for hours and they never seem to miss. And how do we know how to get our food to our mouth, right? I mean, we know. It's something we learn when we're little. The thing is, it has to be, there's a way to tighten it down so that the seeds don't fall out the bottom. Now, some people like these suet feeders. And those are nice too, and I do use these in winter down by my Airbnb guest house. And I put this out there, and the guests just simply adore watching the birds feed on the all-season suet for wild birds. Well, all season, melt resistant up to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, honey, got up to 118 degrees. So 115 doesn't quite cut it. This melted. It was a slimy mess on the ground. I learned my lesson. Don't put this out past April, maybe May. 100 degrees? Yeah. The other thing I learned about these feeders, make sure they're way up in the air and they're out on a limb where the birds can nest, or roost, and use this. And the rodents can't climb out there and cling to it and use this. So you do want to hang these in a manner that rodents can't get to them. What else? Of course, bears. Yeah. I did hang one, and I guess it was maybe a little too low, because some javelina, either they stood on each other's backs or something. I don't know how, but it stood on his hind legs to get up there and grab that thing out of the tree. And of course they don't have fingers, right? So what did they do? They gnawed this thing, chomped through the middle and broke it, which is why you're seeing a new one in a wrapper. So yeah, there's hungry wildlife out there. I really don't want to feed the javelina. I do want to feed the birds. So you can feed suet, but the peanuts are the best. And I'm going to pause this and go get an empty one or empty this so I can show you how to do it. So once upon a time, these feeders were beautiful and they were copper, and they have formed a patina in the elements. So what you can do if you really want to, I could get out the lemon juice and polish them up and then put some lacquer on them so they wouldn't fade, but the patina's okay. So basically this is a little pinch clip, and I'm getting it nice and close. You basically just pinch on the clip and pull it up, and then hold this, or if you want you can pinch on the next clip and hold that up, and then your lid's out of the way and you can fill the feeder. The only problem is, of course, you've moved that clip, so this will come off the bottom. So you have to be very careful when you're filling the feeder. And I put it down in the bucket and just start pouring the stuff in there. And it takes a while. Okay. Fill it right up to the top, because as they peck on it, the level's going to go down as they break up the seed pods. Okay, once the level goes down, I know that it's probably time to refill. And there's actually I see one right here that they didn't crack into yet. So I might even just leave it up there for them to work on a little bit more. Or I can take this and dump it in the compost heap. And if a few peanuts go into the compost, that's fine too. I just make sure you cover them with soil in your compost heap so that the rodents can't easily find any seeds that might be in there. And so far my compost heap, oh well, these are roasted, so they're not going to sprout in the compost heap. I just thought of that. I was like, I've never got any peanuts. Yeah, because they're roasted. Yes, sometimes the gardener doesn't think things through. Yeah, right. Anyway. So that is one kind of feeder for the woodpeckers, and that is one way to keep the woodpeckers from pecking on your house in the land of Soule. Thanks for watching. Getting ready to post this video, I realized I was saying woodpeckers, and really technically I don't mean the woodpecker, I mean the Gila woodpecker, which is very common in our area. Now the also called the gilded flicker. I think they decided that it's actually the same bird, and some have a golden tail and some have a red tail, and they're really all the same genetic species. I'm not sure about that. All I know is the little buggers will hammer on the eaves of your house, and the way to stop that is by feeding them. And it's not just the ones here in the Sonoran Desert. Back in my father's house back east in Vermont, we hung one of these feeders on the second story so the bears couldn't get to it, and filled it up with peanuts, and they just loved it, whatever species that was back east. And Dad liked to watch them, especially as he got more and more ill with ALS. He was much more passive about life, and having those birds fly in outside the window and feed at the feeder was something that brought him joy. So don't feel guilty if you feed wildlife. Just do it in a manner that won't attract in the rodents and the snakes, because we don't want you hurt. We want you to stay safe out there, in the immortal words of Phil. So woodpecker feeders, very useful. Thanks for watching Gardening with Soule. And I have to say that a bag of, come I'll show you a bag of peanuts if I can open. See, keeps the rodents out for sure. Okay,